All right, so let's get this started. All right, so welcome again to YWL Summit 2021 edition. It's our delight to welcome you to today's session. Today is episode 3. So we've had 3 sessions so far, 3 amazing sessions. We started on Sunday with my session on leading diversity in the home. And then yesterday we had an amazing encounter with Stefan Lesson, who shared his journey through different scenarios, changing times in life, from loss through healing and finding hope and love again. And today we have Rosemond, who is going to be walking us through the lies we believe. And I've been looking forward to this session for a very long time. So, as we've always said, the YWL is built on this Akan proverb that says, "Obiasem safwa to me be ubipono," which loosely translates into someone's story may be the key that unlocks the door for another. All it's saying is that we can learn from each other's experiences. You needn't go through the experience to learn from it, but from somebody's story and sharing of that story, you can pick lessons that arm you for life. Let's issue the disclaimer that we're not here as psychologists, counselors, or psychiatrists. We're here sharing real life stories. It's stories. It happened to us. Real life stories. And hopefully the stories will inspire hope in you and kickstart that motivation to take action irrespective of life's curveball that may be thrown at you. So I'm delighted to introduce today's speaker for a very important reason. Rosemond became my best friend in 1998. That's how far back we go. We met in Walter Hall, P Block. And we've remained sisters since then through graduating from school, finding love, mothering children. She's always been around, and she's an auntie to my children. She's a mother, she's a wife, she's a sister, and a friend. She describes herself as somebody who's an advocate for family and youth. Rosemond is very particular about raising spiritual girls in today's world. She says funky spiritual girls in today's world. I had to add that. And one fun fact about Rosemond is that she walks 5 kilometers every day for the last 7 years. My respect, Rosemond. I try and I stop. But she's consistently walked 5 kilometers every day for the last 7 years. And in fact, on Saturdays, she does about 10 kilometers. And then 3 years ago, she took part in a half walk marathon where she walked 21 kilometers. Rosemond, it's an honor to host you on YWL. I'm going to stop sharing now so that you can own the screen, and I'm going to hide my face so that it's all about you and your story. So if you're ready, we're ready for you as well, Rosemond.
Okay, Doreen, thank you so much. And thank you for this opportunity to be in this space and be part of this year's YWL. I've been part of it, listening to other people's story, and it's been wonderful. And it's a beautiful opportunity that I've gotten to share my story. So I'll quickly go on and share my screen, and then we'll kick it in.
All right. Whilst you share your screen, I see that Fuad has his hand up. Fuad, I'm just going to enable you speak so that, did I just lose that? Or it was just, okay, maybe it was just for, all right, Rosemond, please carry on. Share your screen and let's get going.
Okay. Okay, so I'm here to talk about the lies we believe. And this is a real life story about how I struggled with self-esteem and self-confidence. And digging back, it all led to a lie that I believed, I chose to believe growing up. So to get us all on board and engaged, I want us to quickly do this survey. from this question, let us put our comments down in the chat box. What is the worst comment someone has ever told you when you were growing up as a child? Worst comment that you've heard about yourself or something about you that someone told you. If you could just go back into yourself and just give us a few minutes of thoughts, just respond to it in the chat box. And as we wait for that response, we'll flip the question a bit and then ask it this way. What is the thing that you've said to any child in your care that with hindsight, you know you wouldn't have said it or you shouldn't have said that? So the first one is, what has been said to you, a comment that has been made to you that wasn't pleasant? And then now, what have you, as a mother, a father, a caregiver, or any person has said to any child that from hindsight, after giving it a careful thought, you thought that this thing I shouldn't have said to the child? Please put your answers in the chat box.
All right, Coach Rosemond, I'm going to read a few of those, a few of the answers coming to you. This one says, there are so many I can't choose. This one says, I wish you were a man. This one says, you're a bastard child. This one says, you're too ugly and fat. This one says, you're too black. This one says, shut up. This one says, family members used to tell me that my head was too big. Fun fact, I used to have somebody in our assembly when I was in secondary school who used to say that she needed to help me carry my head to walk to class because the back of my head is so long, my body cannot support it. So I can relate with the head is too big. This one says, you, where is your neck? Okay, this one says, let's make it in this program. You can't make it in this program you have chosen to read in the university. This one says, I was told I wouldn't amount to anything. This one says, you're too timid. This one says, are you eating all that with this your weight? Uh-oh. This one says, if you came to kill me, you would die before me. This one says, I'm sorry, I think I'm not getting this one, but it's more around something around not okay, but I'm sure the person will type it well. And I see that there's a comment in the Q&A box as well that says, you're too inquisitive. Over to you, Rosemond.
Wow. From the feedback, I realized that this problem or this situation is not peculiar to me. We all have had our own experience of such comments that really breaks us and cast us down. So that is the premise of my story. And looking back into my life, I realized that I was always struggling to be seen. Initially, I didn't want to be in front of any picture. I always wanted to stay behind. And when I had the opportunity to do something that brings me into the limelight, I would go for a quick excuse to escape that. I wasn't confident. After taking a closer look at myself, I just nailed it and said, Rosemond, you have a problem with your confidence. And so I started digging for answers. I wouldn't take up any leadership role. Even though I was in one, I would do all the work well. And when it comes to the glory, I want somebody to be ready to take it. A colleague of mine said, why are you always doing this? Why do you always have to hide? Why are you hiding? What are you hiding from? And that search got me digging into my past and into my childhood. So this is a picture of me when I asked my younger brother to kind of draw my childhood image, impression of myself, what impressions he had about me when I was a child. And believe you me, that is the real impression, or that's the real me when I was a child. So I'll give you a description. Growing up, or when I was a child, I had this stubborn hair. You can't comb, you can't manage. I had a big mouth, small eyes, big cheeks, big stomach, a protruding belly button, a big buttocks, very dry skin, and scaly. On top of that, I had always runny nose, consistent runny nose. And I was very unkempt. Not because my mother couldn't take care of me, because that was me. That was me, Rosemond. I enjoyed walking barefoot. And when I saw the chalote in my hand, I was like, oh God, you nailed it. It made me miss walking barefoot. You know, I would walk anywhere and everywhere barefoot. My mother hated it, but it didn't really bother me. And in character, I was mischievous. I would always be with the boys because I had big brothers and not around my mother. I was troublesome, inquisitive. I would bully my younger brother and twin sister for their food, and I would eat anything that is edible. I would just put it in my mouth. And with a runny nose, I'll just lift the top of my dress, my top, and just blow my nose into it. Rub it around with my hand, clean my nose with my hand, and then off I'm gone. So I was very unkempt. And my mother used to say that you need to be groomed. And they have a fancy, she lived in Takrady for a while. So she would say, "Wapo means when we want to turn you into a lady or mold you into a lady, allow yourself to be molded into a lady. You are just uncouth. You need to grow up." I didn't care. And my mom, in our house growing up, every child had a nickname. And my nickname was Tumful, means a glutton. I had a big appetite for anything edible. And I didn't care about you calling me Tumful. So when my brothers call me Tumful, I'll tell them that I like it. And they tell me you're not beautiful, I like it. And they'll be like, who are you, if you don't like it, who are you going to give that one to? Who are you passing that ugliness on to? I didn't care. So one day, and teasing in our house was a form of entertainment. Everybody had a nickname. My big brother was called Odogo Tubanchi, means he was slim and lanky. I had a cousin who wasn't walking really straight, so we called her Tinge Tinge. We had silly names, and that all generated from my mother. She would create a name for everything. And my twin sister was called Minengede, because when she was bathing, her breast was too big and it would be shaking, wobbling around. So we used to call her Minengede. So everybody had a nickname, and mine was Tumful. So,
just for just 1 minute, I want to check. Are we on here? Somebody just put in the chat box that they are losing connection on and off. Please confirm whether I can hear, if you can hear Rosemond, so that we are good to go. We don't lose anyone. So just a few comments in the chat box on I can hear, and we are good. Okay, fantastic. I can hear. All right, fantastic. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. All right, carry on, Rosemond. Thank you.
Okay. So, one day, I think I upset my big brother, and then after a few knocks, he dragged me to my mother and told my mother how I have really hurt him. Honestly, my mother was tired of me because I could go, the complaints was just too much for her. So on this occasion, out of her frustration, she screamed, "I should have left you in the hospital. I should have left you in the hospital. It's only by grace. I mean, I don't know why I brought you home, because I don't know, you are really ugly." And I was like, okay, it didn't tickle me. So I just listened to her and she added a bit of drama to it. And she said, when I woke up from surgery and the nursing sister brought you to me, I screamed, oh my God, what is this? And then she said, oh, Aunt sister, don't worry, sister mother, don't worry. She has a twin and they brought your sister and she was all beautiful. And at least I had a relief. But at that time, that statement meant nothing to me. After all, I escaped her beatings after my brother had given me a good one already. So I moved on and just went on with my mischievous life. And that statement was very innocent from my mother, but very insensitive. That was very insensitive. Even though it didn't mean anything to me, digging back into my life, I realized where my low self-esteem started from. And like any of us, we've all experienced this innocent insensitivity from family, from people who are so close, who should build our confidence up in many ways. We receive these comments from them. I'm sure in her mind, she didn't give a careful thought to her statement. And after searching and looking, what definition can we give to innocent insensitivity? The Bible is always right on something. So I found this verse. Proverbs 12:18 says, thoughtless words can wound as deeply as a sword, but wisely spoken words can heal. So innocence insensitivity for me is any careless word, any thoughtless word, anything we say without looking at its lingering effect on the person, but we just spew it out because we want to get away with it. We should be sensitive. So her words, I should have left you in the hospital. You are an ugly child, stuck on with me. And that was innocent insensitivity. How are we handling our children? How are we responding to the frustrations they are giving to us? How are we dealing with our colleagues who are not cooperating? How are we as siblings even handling each other and making sure that we are not hurting the people we love most along the way of life? So fast forward. I woke up one morning in my early teens, about 14 years. I was feeling good about myself. I had had a good bath, and there are days you wake up and you feel like, oh, you're on top of the world. I felt like that. I was on top of the world. I looked at myself a couple of times in the mirror, turned my head around a bit, and I was a beautiful budding young lady, so teenage girl. So I was really admiring myself. So I stepped out of the room. You remember the old wooden mirror with the yellow wooden borders? Yeah, quite a size like an exercise book was what I had in the room. So I spent a couple of minutes, or let's say, yes, a minute admiring myself. I step out and my big brother, who had returned from secondary school, was in the corridor. We both walked out and he turns to me and says, Rosemond, in school, a preacher came around and mentioned a verse. When I heard the verse, it reminded me of you. I was interested. So he says, he said, there's this verse that said, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. So I was interested. I was like, wow, what is he going to say about me? After feeling all good about myself, I was excited. Then he said, no, it's the fearful that made me remember you. You know what? When God finished making you, he looked at the finished product and it was ugly. So he screamed, what? What is this thing that I have made? This girl is ugly. So in his dismay and in his expression, he hit on the production button And before he could blink, I was in the world. I'd been shipped off into the world, and he couldn't recall the product. Wow. Then he goes on to say, so immediately he realized that he's made a mistake. And God doesn't make a mistake. He knew that. I said, yes. So he called his angels and told them they should bring the scrolls. He needs to do a review or editing in one of the scrolls. He opens the scrolls and tells them, bring me a pen. I need to review this verse, because initially it was just wonderful. I have just finished making somebody who is fearful. I need to review that verse and put the word fearful in it. And for a moment, I stood frozen. I was sad. I was really hurt. So he goes on to say, you are fearfully ugly. And that's why God puts there, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. So the fearful is for you, the ugly is for all other people on earth. And I was shocked. So I took it in, and for the first time, I cried not because I was beaten. I cried because I was hurt. I was really hurt. My mother, upon hearing it, came around, gave me a few hugs. Oh, don't mind him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Was he there when they were writing the Bible? Don't worry, you're my girl. So I just took it in. I swept it under the carpet, but in my heart, I concluded that I was fearfully ugly. And that was a lie. That lie stayed with me for a long time. I couldn't just get my head over it. It just nailed it for me that there's something really wrong with my face and with me as Rosemond. So I walk around knowing that I am fearfully ugly. So I meet people and they say, Rosemond, you are beautiful. If I can say it in your face, I tell you that, see, you're not bold enough to tell me how ugly I am. If I think, oh, I can't say because I have to be respectful, I smile, and in my mind, I'm like, please stop teasing me. You guys irritate me. And over time, I started building anger in me. I got irritated with the statement that you are beautiful. Oh, you are looking nice. It felt like a literal insult. It felt like somebody slapping me in the face. And when I could retaliate, I would. I became not bitter, but I had anger bottled up in me. So, what did this do? I realized that I had a wrong self-esteem, wrong perception about myself, very low. This low self-esteem fed into my confidence. I wasn't confident. I would want to stay in the background. I would want to be behind the curtains, do all the hard work. That one I don't have any issues with. Oh, let us go and meet this person. Oh, why don't you take the lead? I will join you. Because I knew that even if I'm to do the presentation, somebody will see how ugly I am and be like, what? I've never seen this lady that she's so ugly. Because of that confidence, I always second-guessed myself. I was ugly, and everything I did was ugly in my mind. I can never be perfect. I can never get it right. So always I was looking around and asking for validation. Sometimes in wrong places. And other times I'm like, why do I have to get validation and for what? But that ugly lie that I was fearfully ugly was so dominant in my life. And therefore, I missed opportunities to lead, opportunities to develop, opportunities to grow. I had to give them all up because I wasn't confident enough in who I am and what I can do. Aside that, it was quite recent, about a couple of years back, about 4 or 3 years ago, that my husband told me, Rosemond, I think you don't take feedback well. And That one was even a fight because I thought, no, you can't say that. You are attacking me. You are attacking my personality. And that was as a result of the lie that I had held on long enough over the years. I was very judgmental and I couldn't take feedback. It felt like you were really attacking me. You were in my face, stabbing my heart or turning me around and trying to suffocate me. And I will fight back with everything. Even though the feedback was very harmless, it meant something else to me. I didn't have a positive mindset of myself and therefore didn't have a positive view of anything. Everything for me was negative and fighting against me. So that was it. It was a tough battle and we went on and went on. And each time my husband's like, take your time, look at it from this way, take yourself out and take the feedback this way. And gradually I'm working on it. So how did I work it out? God has a good sense of humor, you know. So one day in a ladies' Bible study, I was asked to read Psalm 139, verse 14. Apparently, ever since my brother quoted that verse to me, whether it was real or not, I never checked it out in the Bible. I never. I felt like, why should I go and read my fearful reference in the Bible? I never checked it out in the Bible. So in this Bible study, we're given verses, and then I was asked to read Psalm 139, verse 14. I opened my Bible and I read the verse silently so that I can get control over it. I saw that I had to make sure I was getting it right the first time. So I'll ask Doreen to read the verse for us to hear. Doreen.
Sure, Rosemond. So Psalm 139, verse 14. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, and that I know fully well.
You can imagine what happened to me when I realized that that was the reference. Believe you me, immediately I was upset. I didn't know where that anger came from. I was so upset and it drew on my face. But I became aware of myself quickly and said, you are in a Bible study, manage yourself. So I taken a deep breath and put myself under check, put on a smile, max my anger with a smile, and then read the verse. I read it as quickly as I could. I didn't even want to pause on anything in there because the fearful was me and the wonderful was everybody. And I don't want to see the fearful. So after reading the verse, was an elderly lady in the Bible study. And she was so quiet. She said, I observed that reaction. What is it about the verse? Or what's the reaction for? I took in another breath and said, you know what, this woman wants trouble for me. In my mind, I don't want to go there. But everybody was quiet and looking at me, so I couldn't just say I'm ignoring her. So I go on to respond, and I told them about my brother's interpretation of that verse, that I am fearfully ugly, and that fearful there is just for me, and the wonderful is for everybody else. They all laughed. After sitting quietly for a while, I just joined in and laughed because I was like, I've never had a laugh over this before. Just laugh. So I laughed. And she was like, Rosemond, can you look at it this way? That you are fearful because you are awesome. You are unique. You are so beautiful. Somebody will have to take time and look at you intensely and take you in. There are people who are beautiful on the first sight. There are people who you really have to sit and look at them and admire who they are. And I think you are one of them. So you are beautiful. So let's look at it from the positive side, she continued. Can we say it like, you are fearfully beautiful and wonderfully made, and you are fully aware of that? I nodded in affirmation because I wanted us to move on with the Bible study. I didn't want the whole verse discussion. So I just nodded and it went on. But that discussion resurrected it created an awakeness in me that got me kind of thinking again and got me realizing that I have an issue with my confidence and I need to deal with it. Either I accept the truth, search for the truth and accept it, or manage how I'm living with a lie. And that's what's for me to do. So after many years, honestly, I didn't do anything about this verse, about that realization. I just shelved it, locked it in somewhere and then moved on. But the anger in the fact that now I had missed all attention. At a point, I felt like nobody was even noticing me. I felt like I am missing anywhere and everywhere. Nobody is calling you. Nobody is checking up on you. Nobody is looking around for you. Nobody is asking, oh, where is this person? We are not seeing you in this thing. Where are you? I felt missing. And that vicious circle of being away created an anger in me. And that anger made me feel that I was caged. I felt caged and I was screaming out for help and nobody was hearing me. So I asked myself, who has caged me? And in what cage am I in? And how do I free myself? Only for me to realize that I have caged myself, kept the key in my right hand, and I'm screaming for help. I have the power to choose to believe the lie or hunt for the truth and believe the truth. So I went on a truth hunt, I would say. I went searching scriptures. I went picking opinions from people and friends and families. I went asking for definition of beauty, just to make sure that I am finding myself and looking for that wonderful, fearfully beautiful lady the elderly woman described me to be. So I searched, and I gathered enough evidence to disprove the lie, to tell the lie that no, in the face of the lie, this is the truth. And the truth is that I was beautiful. I am fearfully beautiful and wonderfully made, and I'm fully aware of that. And in that, I will praise God. So I had a beautiful or a long pity party with myself, really cried over the issue, the hurt and the pain, and told myself, from today, you are not going to hold this pain again. You are letting it go and you are moving forward in the truth. So after that, I did a mental overhaul of myself, a real mental overhaul, and started working on me, Rosemond, the beautiful me, the fearfully beautiful Rosemond, and started working on my mental health and telling myself how beautiful I am, looking into God's word and looking into the mirror and looking at myself and saying that I am fearfully beautiful, not fearfully ugly. And for that, to tell you, it's a daily struggle. It comes up every day. I take time to recognize the lie because every time the lie shows up, when I have a program or have to go somewhere, I have a meeting, I have a presentation, the first thing I hear myself, the lie says that you're ugly. Everybody is going to see your small eyes. Your cheeks are too big. Your mouth is so big. It doesn't look nice. You look at your stomach. Your figure is not nice. I hear all these lies. The lie is screaming wild. But I take time, look at myself in the mirror, take a breather, and tell the lie that I know the truth and that I'm fearfully beautiful and I'm wonderfully made and I know it fully well. And so I'm not afraid. And in that confidence, I step out. Sometimes I step out and meet people who are outstandingly beautiful. And I'm like, whoa, Rosemond, there you are. Then I tell myself, Rosemond, you are beautiful. Others will have to take time and look at you intensely to see how beautiful you are. So relax. Just give people time to look at you. When they are looking at you, they are not seeing the ugly you. They are just digesting your beauty. So just relax and enjoy it. So that is how I deal with a lie. Every day I tell myself. There are days I cave in and the lie thinks that it has won. But by close of day, I go back and tell myself, Rosemond, no, you are beautiful. And I know I am. My husband tells me you are beautiful. The children say, Mommy, you are beautiful. And I really know that I am beautiful. So we can choose the lie. We have the power to choose between or choose what we believe and what we want to hold on. We can choose to believe those ugly statements and things people said to us growing up. Those things that make us very, very sad and wonder, where did I come from? And sometimes I wish I could just vanish into thin air and nobody will make me trace me. But no, that is the lie. You have the power resident in you to believe the truth and hold on to the truth. The lie won't go away, or you can make it weaker and weaker by really affirming the truth to yourself. And that makes the difference. I will and sum up my quote with this, with this statement. That's, I'll sum up my lesson or story with this statement that Victor wrote. It's a quote from Victor. It says, between the stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and freedom. So you have the power to choose how to respond, to believe the lie or to accept the truth, to hold on to the lie or to freely liberate yourself from the cage of lies and accept the truth and walk in freedom and in growth. Because when we choose, when our responses are positive and we choose the truth, we grow and we are free. Over the few years, I've realized how I have grown, developed, and become a better version of myself because of the truth I chose to believe and letting go the lie. I've realized how I have deliberately even changed my wardrobe and stepped out confidently and accepted many opportunities hitherto I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have even gone closer. And I would behave such that you don't even think of giving it to me the next time. No, I am stepping forward to accept new challenges because I believed the lie. I chose to believe the lie. And in that positive response lies our power and opportunity to grow and be free. To round it up from this story, what I want us to take home is, what comments are we passing? How are we raising our children? What comments are we saying to others? And how are we presenting ourselves to our children? and how we building their confidence. So let us keep this. What lie are you holding on to? And to what benefits? And what truth and positive things can we say to our children? We are all a handful. We will all not be the same. But in our uniqueness, let us as parents and caregivers accept them and accept us and treat us in that beautifulness. So over to you, Doreen. Thank you once again for the opportunity to share my story. I don't hold on to the lies. I believe the truth, that I'm fearfully beautiful and wonderfully made. And I'm fully aware of it. And in this, I praise God. Thank you.
Wow. Rosemond, thank you so much. And just to read a bit of the feedback coming through for you. This one says, I'm just going all the way back. So it says, that lie, the voices in our head, paper tigers, they're scary, but they don't exist. This one says, I'm laughing, small eyes, I don't even see it, This one says, your beauty doesn't fade. Coach Sarah says, I love that, digesting the beauty. I think she was speaking about you when you stand in the mirror. And this one says, isn't it amazing that we don't even see any of the things that you're talking about? And we say you're beautiful. We have the power of choice. Beauty is from within. This one says, the fearfully beautiful Rosemond, who is wonderfully made. I love that you name the lie each time it shows up. And speak out and affirm your truth. Thank you for sharing. This one says, how can anyone call God's creation ugly? What a powerful quote. I think it's the quote from Viktor Frankl, the one on the screen right now.
Yeah.
Frankl. And the choice is ours, she says. I particularly love this one. Theodosia says, how we wound people without realizing it. Lord help us. And this one says, the tongue is really powerful. Let us watch every word we speak. Thank you, Rosemond. Groa says, thank you for sharing your story. Thank you, Rosemond. And she says, this is touching, eh? Irene says, wow, the lie was a very big lie. You forgot to add that you are an amazing sight to behold on the sport track when you are running. Samuel says, beautiful story, beautifully presented by a fearfully beautiful lady. This one says, and this one I have to read out, because this one is from your husband. And he says, thanks for sharing, Rosemond. You got me to tear up. And I'm so glad that the Lord gave you to me. I found a beautiful wife and I have obtained favor from the Lord. Ooh. And the morning after they got married, KB had a quote on his lips as well. KB, do you remember that quote? My soul. Okay, Elikem says, powerful session. You have just inspired 6 of us to change and appreciate ourselves. We have been battling with confidence for years. Thank you so much. For me, it's the thoughtlessness of words that we say when we think sometimes we're just teasing. And we're in our minds is just to get the child to shut up, or in our frustration say something. But thank you for highlighting how that can be deeply, deeply hurtful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Droa is waving to KB. KB, Droa says she sees you. All right. Susie says, husband support, go KB. Rosemond, do you want to share the gift with
yeah,
on the call?
Okay. Oh, so you go ahead and do that one.
You're sure you don't want to do it yourself, miss?
Oh. No, I'll leave it for you. Yes, please do it.
All right. Rosemond, in the comments, there's a question okay. I see something in the Q&A. Okay. And it says, did your transition from holding on to the lies and building the new you involved the support of others, such as professionals, or you just depended on kind words from family and friends, such as the older woman in your Bible study? Did you ever get support from anybody apart from from family and friends and the Bible study?
I did get support from family and friends, especially my husband, but I got support from Coach Taka at one point, especially when it was weighing on my career. It got to a point I realized that I was low in performance, and I knew that this is not me. There's something needs to be done, and I need a fixing. So I had a session with her, and we talked, and it was that discussion was also enlightening. She kept saying, Rosemond, you can do it. You have the power within you, and anything you set your mind to, you can. So sit down and look at where the gaps are, and then start working on it. So I did that, and I had previously put a few things together to bring that transformation. So I just put it into gear, and then I made it work. And I just took ownership of my own journey, and then put action into it. So it's all you. Even when you get help, the bigger work is you. You have to get it going, and you have to do it. And I'm happy I did, and I'm proud of myself.
Okay, and thank you so much for that. I think for me, it's critical to mention that when you feel you're sinking, or when you feel that weight, there's support out there. It's important to reach out for that support. And it's interesting how one lie can weigh on almost every aspect of your life. She talked about the effect it had on her relationships, her career, her confidence, and how through words she was brought down, but through support and words as well, she's finding herself back. There's another question in the Q&A, but I also see a hand up. So I'm just going to unmute this one. It's Echo. Echo, you may ask the question now. All right, so Echo, you can unmute yourself and ask your question now, please.
Am I heard?
Yes, we can hear you.
Right. Rosemond, congrats. And let me just reassure you that you are a very, very, very beautiful lady.
Thank you.
Apart from congratulating you, I just want us all to know sometimes the source of the lies which come to us. I've known Rosemond even when I wasn't wearing spectacles. I've known her since the Volta Hall days. So I know very well the lady we are all encouraging and appreciating right now. But funny enough, the surprise is where these lies are coming from.
Yeah.
So sometimes it is important to know that the negatives, the lies can come from within. That is what I want to share with the colleagues on this call. That the lies can come from people who are very, very close, work colleagues, family members, etc. So please, let's look out and always let's focus on the positives. Rosemond, once again, you are a very, 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 very beautiful lady. It was nowhere close to the truth. Not at all. I have known you so well. And let me just finish by saying this. There were days that coming to the Volta Hall was pleasure for me, because I know KB is listening, but KB, I came to the Volta Hall because I know I was going to see Rosemond. Apart from Doreen, I was going to see Rosemond. So I just want us to understand sometimes the negatives can come from within.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is a question, another question from KB. He says, how do you think parents can help their kids build self-confidence and be immune to negative comments from people outside? That's a powerful question. When we do our best with our own thoughtlessness at home as parents, we've managed it, we are self-aware, we are conscious, so we are not speaking ill to our kids. How can we build them up so that they can be immune to other people outside who may say those comments to them?
Wow. Okay. I'll do my best to answer it, but it's open to others to also contribute, so that if others over the years have practiced something, and then we can all learn from that. But I would say that we should make the home a safe place by first making our children feel safe with our words, by taking away all insensitive comments or innocent insensitive, being careful, just taking a few minutes to think through our words before we say them. We should see them and be sure that it's really carrying the weight or what you want intended to carry. And when that happens, we should also continue to build their confidence to come home with issues when they bring it. Our affirmation is what makes the difference for them, because we cannot insulate them from the world, but we can build their confidence such that when they step out into the world and they receive these negative comments, they are assured in themselves that this is wrong. This is not me. This comment, this is not a true description of me. But if at home they are not getting that space, that safe space to bring themselves in, or we are not present in their space, then they can't open up first to share with us their struggles, and we are not giving them any positive feedback, then they can't do that. So it's important that we create a safe environment. It is safe because you are not criticizing the child. You are not saying anything that is thoughtless. You are not doing things that emotionally wounds the child, but you are giving that child that space to be himself and grow with correction in mind. And in that, when the child goes out, you're also creating that space of a listening ear. You are ready to listen to the child's challenges. Some of us are at home, but we are not present. We are busy, so the children can't even engage with us. But when they engage with us, and we create that space and they engage with us, then we can pick up their struggles that they are coming in from outside, turn it around and show them the positive side, or say that this is not you, and this is not a true description of you, and this is who you are. And we affirm what they really are so that they can face the world in confidence. I don't know if I've answered it well, but I open it up for others to share in.
And it's good you've done that, because I see, Coach, thank you for that response. You're saying that at home, let's create a safe space. I see Coach Susan has her hand up, and I see Theodosia as well. So I'm just going to unmute and I like the conversation, because this is something we can all relate to as parents or as caregivers, especially because it's a place we have experienced as well. So Coach Susan, please unmute yourself and comment.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Rosemond, for your story. Thank you for what you just shared. And I just want to add a little bit. I'm like, definitely 100%, it starts from the home. It starts from the words we speak to our own children. And I mean, we've all made mistakes. I have 2 generations of children, and I see, in fact, they tell me, the older ones tell me they don't even recognize me, because I'm a different mother to the younger 2 than I was to them. Because of course, by that time, I had grown, I'd learned new things. I still make mistakes, I'm not perfect. But just what I wanted to share is that, and what I learned along the way, is that our intent determines the strategy. When our children make mistakes, if our intent is to correct them in love, how would we go about it? What strategy would we adapt? oftentimes we tend to scream and shout, and before you know it, oh, you stupid, whatever or whatever. But if like I said, if the intent is pure and true, it will inform your strategy and how you engage with that child and the words that you use. And I just want to share this quote from Brennan Manning. There was a time in my house where when the song Speak Life, I was just playing it over and over and over again. I think that's when I realized the import of our words. So if any of you don't know the song, please Google it and listen. I think it's by, I've forgotten the guy who wrote it. But at the end of the song, he has this quote by Brennan Manning, which says, in every encounter, we either give life or we drain it. There is no neutral exchange. So it's really about being mindful of what our intent is and adapting the strategy that will realize that intent and making sure that the two are aligned. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Coach Susan. Rosemond, quite a lot of people can identify with what you've shared today from a very deep place. From your second husband telling you that be mindful of the source to speak life. There's no neutral exchange. Irene says in the chat box, Rosemond, you remember the chat I had with your son and the results? The things we say really make a difference. Sometimes I tell my daughter, look, I'll be a better grandmother than I am a mother. Being your mother, I'll make some mistakes, but I promise I'll be a better grandmother. I would have learned my lessons, all in that bit to help her understand that sometimes, even as a mother, I'm also a student and I'm learning that as well. I'm going to allow you to talk as well to Theodosia. Forgive me if I massacred your name, but please share what it is that you have.
Thank you very much, Doreen, and thank you, Rosemond, and everybody else. I just want to add to what has just been said about how to build confidence in children. I think allowing the children to be themselves is key, and guiding them as they blossom into the different kind of people that they will become. And then telling them truth in love. They're not perfect children, like they have their weaknesses and their strengths, but being honest to point out to them and put them on the right path, I think that also helps. And then I think exposing them to the truth of the word, that for me is the ultimate. That's what is going to build ultimate confidence in them. And I think having rules and regulations in the house didn't help us much in bringing up our children. I mean, it's like, well, rules to a certain extent, but allowing them to express themselves within those rules and regulations. And then we had a rule at home that there were no insults. Insults were not tolerated in any form. And either between my husband and myself or with the children. So they grew up knowing that insults are not acceptable in any form. So that's what I'd like to add. Thank you.
That's a beautiful add, Theodosia. Thank you so much for sharing that. There's Ifwa Oforiata on the call as well. Ifwa, please unmute yourself and share. I see your hand raised.
Hello, Doreen.
Yes, my sister, the psychologist. I have just exposed you.
I'm sorry. I was just enjoying. I don't know how my hand got up, but it's been amazing.
It means you have to share something.
Oh my God. I think I'll go with what our lady just said about letting the children blossom into the individuals that they are in their uniqueness. And as for the lies, Madam, we are growing in with it. And every day we hear it. But as your second husband said in quotes, let's try and be ourselves and then believe in the positivity. The people who tell us the lies are the close ones. And I've been wondering, your brother, is he listening to us today? He should listen. And look at your smile. I've written down a few things about you. I've never met you, but I have a picture on my screen. Beautiful, your skin, your teeth, your eyes. My God, you are beautiful. Doreen, you asked me to talk. That's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Efua. And it's interesting that she mentioned that because there's a question in the Q&A box that says, Rosemond, did you ever let your brother apologize to you as part of your healing process?
No.
No.
No. Somehow I thought I had to deal with it. And maybe not everybody will apologize, and you meet other challenges, and the person who did it's gone. But I had to, it's my work to do. So no, I didn't. I did it all alone. Yeah.
Thank you for that. And this one says, how do you deal with a little girl who keeps saying that she has poofy, ugly hair? Before you answer, I have a friend who told me that she said, Doreen, when I was growing up, my mother said my hair is like they put starch in it. Her hair is starched. So when we met in secondary school and I had to braid her hair, she warned me before I started. She said, before you start, let me warn you, my hair is really, really tough. My mom says it's been starched. So how do we deal with a little girl who keeps saying she has poofy, ugly hair? And this question is open to any of the, I see on the call are coaches and psychologists as well. And whilst we wait to take a response to this, I'm going to unmute. I see Elikem's hand raised as well. So Elikem, please unmute yourself and share your thoughts.
Hi, everyone. Doreen, thank you for this session. Can you hear me?
Yes, Elikem, we can hear you.
Okay, so for me, my daughter was being bullied at school. So one day, because I always said to her she was beautiful, she's smart and everything. But I realized that the effect from what people were saying to her was really getting to her. So I called out one day and I said to her, look at yourself in the mirror. What do you see? And so when you go out there and people are being negative to you, when they do it, smile, because at the end of the day, we can't control what people want to do, but we can. She started doing it every day. When she came back from school, she told me, oh, mommy, somebody said I'm stupid. But I told her that I'm wonderfully and beautifully made. And as time went by, she got over it. Now, nothing negative gets to her. So this is all I wanted to share with you as well. So daily affirmations also help. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Elikem. And I had an experience with that with my older son as well. He wasn't being bullied, but sometimes people pass. He was quite lanky when he was growing up, and kids would tease in school. And I said to him one time, people often pass on, project what they feel about themselves onto you. And half of the times it has nothing to do with you. It's actually what they are struggling with. And one time he said that one of his classmates used to make fun of him, that he's a mommy's boy, because I insisted on hugging him before he went to class and all of that. And I said to him, well, it's not my fault that maybe his mother doesn't have time to hug him in the mornings like I do. And as little as he was, I think he was in like class 2 or 3. The next time the boy laughed at him when he realized that I had hugged him in the morning, and he called him mommy's boy. My little boy now says to him, it's not my fault that your mother doesn't have time to hug you. And the boy just broke. So the mother came to ask me, why did your son say that to my son? I'm like, I didn't even know. So apparently it's something that the boy actually wanted. He wasn't getting, and was really upset with somebody else for getting it. So again, sometimes the young kids are just projecting themselves onto other people. But there's still a question we haven't answered in the chat box. How do we deal with a little girl who keeps saying that she has poofy, ugly hair? There's a comment in the chat box whilst we wait for that. Of course, says, I always encourage my children and members of my team at work to believe that they are the best, and I've always reinforced it. Debbie says, I understand about dealing with it, because you might never get an apology from the one who caused the pain. You are beautiful, and I'm glad you shared your story with us today. Thank you so much, Debbie. All right, so our final thoughts on how do we deal with the girl who keeps saying that she has poofy, ugly hair? Calling all coaches and psychologists on the call. All right, I see Ifwa's hand up again. So Ifwa, Over to you, may unmute yourself, or was that from previous? Maybe it was.
Sorry, ignore. It's from previous.
All right, my apologies. Okay. So Rosemond, do you want to attempt, how do you deal with a girl who's always saying, who keeps saying that she has poofy, ugly hair?
I would say affirmation. Whoever the girl is saying that to, be it a teacher, a mother, a caregiver, we should just give that child attention and affirm the child. Let the child pick out something, just a single thing she likes about what she sees on herself, and then affirm that. Because affirmation is powerful. It drives away the lie. And that's one thing she can, and teach her to repeat it to herself as many times she feels threatened by the lie. Yeah.
Yeah, so her hair is very different, but different doesn't mean ugly.
Ugly, yes.
There are different types of hair, different textures, and hers is different, yes. But what word can she use to describe it? People are projecting themselves onto her. How would she describe her hair? And the fact that it's different doesn't make it bad. So what words does she want to use to describe her hair first? So maybe we can teach her to begin to see what is unique about her. My mom used to have abohead points, abohead because they were just from her head. They were not points written anywhere. And one of them I still remember stayed with me as a child. So she says, I'm a beautiful girl. I comb my hair every morning. Then I powder my face nicely. Then I look at myself in the mirror. Ah, I am a beautiful girl. I learned this point when I was like 3 years old. Because I said it so many times growing up, I still remember it right from the top of my head. So let's please teach this little beautiful one that different is special, like Elegant says in the chat box. Micah says, exactly so, Doreen. I was going to contribute exactly what has just been said. I tell my daughter that what people say is a reflection of what they feel about themselves, but just so that she doesn't become insensitive about people's feelings, I tell her to think about it. Does it make sense to her? If yes, she can give it a thought. If no, she should discard it. Thank you so much for sharing that, Micah. And Micah will be sharing with us on Thursday. She'll be sharing handling rejection. If you haven't registered for Thursday's session, please go ahead and register today. Thomas says, since I knew KB and Rose, I always saw a pretty lady. I'm wondering how she saw an ugly Rosemond. Thank you, Thomas. It was a lie she believed. And thankfully, she's able to work her way around the lie. Words have meaning, and let's be cautious. Rosemond, I would say that because of the time, we send the gift as part of the YouTube recording that we'll send out today.
Sure. Sure.
Micah says, Rosemond, you are so beautiful. It's not even funny. Thank you. Thank you, Micah. And Susan says, show her images of others who have similar hair and let her see the beauty there. All right, I think Coach Susan is talking about the girl who says she has ugly hair. Let's show her images of other people with different hair so that she can see that she's not, her hair may be different, but she's special. So you will get this exercise. It was supposed to be a guided experience just to help us uncover some of the lies we have believed in the video recording once we upload this on YouTube. But essentially, we'll be asking you to think about a defining life experience. And how you do that is to think of your life in buckets of 7. So age 1 to 7, age 8 to 14, and like that, so to 21. And then if you pick one of those experiences, just like Rosemond's experience with her brother, what meaning did you make out of that experience? Sometimes there's no meaning there and then, but later on. And so if you don't find any meaning, move on to the next portion of the exercise. What stories did you begin to tell yourself as a result of that experience? What stories? Because those stories become the beliefs that we hold dear and they linger on for a very long time. So once you identify the stories that you begin to you start telling yourself as a result of that experience, you're going to ask yourself, is that story still serving you? or it's become a liability that you need to drop down. An image I want to leave you with is an image I saw once at 37, in front of the 37 military hospital, of a mentally ill man who had a lot of baggage. And it suddenly dawned on me that day that sometimes the beliefs that we have about certain experiences have become like that, those baggages that this man was carrying. And you could tell it was weighing him down. And it was a lot of things that I would call uselessness, but he just carried them along, you know. And so for those things that we believe, some of them are assets, they still serve us, we want to preserve those. But those ones that are no more serving us, they are liabilities, they are the bags that we want to drop. And then what values emerged out of that experience? So if I use my personal experience, one of the experiences I had as a child, I think I was about age 7, a conversation I overheard between my mom and my father that caused me to think that I needed to really work for my father's love. I learned the value of doing things at the right time, but it was for the wrong reason. It was because I was seeking or craving somebody's attention, but a good value emerged from it. The value of doing particular things at particular times, my love for order, because I just wanted to get his attention, but that's a conversation for another day. So what are the values that emerged from that experience for you as well? Coach Rosemond, can we go to the next question, please?
Yeah.
Then once you think of the value that has emerged, you think of what did the stories inform, how did the stories inform how you think? So if you think of that experience and the stories that you made out of it, how do they inform how you currently think? So you need to take a moment and just think about that. And this will require a pen and a notepad. Once you get the recording on YouTube, please take your time to go through this. And if there are young kids in your care, you can also go through this exercise with them. And then when you think of that experience, what type of emotions generate for you? Because emotions now inform how we behave. So what emotions come up for you when you think of that experience? Can we have the next one, please? And then from those emotions, what behaviors emerged? All right, so when what behavior comes up as a result of that emotion? And every behavior has an outcome, which is a behavior. It becomes your habits, what you're known for. So if you want to change something that you're currently doing, you dig back from your the pattern of behavior you are experiencing, to the thinking that is generating it, to the stories that created it, to the value, and it just go back like that. But let's just start with one defining experience. And hopefully as you walk through this, you'll be able to uncover some of those defining experiences that you've carried along with you and how it's currently creating particular outcomes for you. Think of those ones that are no more serving you and you can drop them. Yeah. All right, so Rosemond, yes. I see the last slide. Maybe you want to show it so that those who want to, maybe that kind of experience wants to speak to Rosemond. She's available via this email, boamars@gmail.com. So for anybody, and Rosemond is a coach in training. So anybody who, she's currently giving a discount on her coaching sessions to enable her build her hours for her accreditation. So anybody who is looking for a deep-hearted conversation with a coaching training, please reach out to Rosemond via this email. If you have teenage daughters or sons as well, who you think you'd want to have a conversation with a trusted adult, please take Rosemond's email and reach out to her as well. Or if your church is doing something for couples and parents of young kids, this is the email address to go to. Let's support a sister to do well as well. Rosemond, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. First, for being my friend for all of these years. And for agreeing to share this very personal story on this platform for the benefit of others. And as you shared the stories and I saw the feedback coming through, I could tell, and especially from the first exercise, a lot of people have had similar experiences of words that break. But if there's anything that we've learned today, is that seek support because words also heal. So thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me just have you share the last thing that you're taking away as we end today's session. Thank you so much. What is it that you're taking away as we say our goodbyes? Thank you so much to all of you for joining as well. To all the coaches and psychologists on the call, thank you. To our friends who joined, our husbands who joined.
Yes.
Thank you so much as well.